What's going on, everyone? So Andrew Wiggins, he's a target for the Los Angeles Lakers. There were reports that, hey, Lakers have kind of backed off on the Andrew Wiggins front just because Miami's asking price is just too much, right? They want Rui Hachimura, Dalton Connect, and a first-round pick for Andrew Wiggins, right? But they also want to clear salary. They want to get off of his contract, right? That has value in and of itself. There are kind of questions and concerns about Andrew Wiggins, like his mental space, like is he really invested in the game? Yes, Andrew Wiggins would be ideal for the Lakers, right? A legit 3-and-D wing, right? A guy that, if he's your first or second option, probably not too great, but if he's your third or fourth option, you're probably a very good basketball team, right? Slotting Andrew Wiggins into that starting 3 spot, I think could do wonders for the Lakers and really kind of raise the title window, right? Obviously, they still need to kind of round out the bench better and get some other pieces and stuff, but that could be a huge domino in the right direction. Lakers also need to clear roster spots. If they can clear a little cap space, Wave Shake Milton, all of a sudden they could put together a really good roster, right? Imagine like Luka, Austin Reeves, Andrew Wiggins, LeBron James, and DeAndre Ayton as your starting 5, and then you go get like a DeAnthony Melton, a Bradley Beal, right? And then you have like Jared Vanderbilt and Jake LaRavia, and then if you can, if Chicago ends up buying out Nikola Vucevic, maybe you can do a couple things there. Still maybe pull off a consolidation trade. Right? There's options for the Lakers there. If they were to land Andrew Wiggins, again, raises the ceiling for the Lakers. I think would be in really good shape. But again, the asking price is too much, especially with the Lakers' limitations as far as assets go, right? We're not the Thunder. We're not, even the Spurs or the Rockets. We don't have the luxury of like, all right, fine, we can necessarily overpay for a guy and all is right. Now, I said in the past, and I still stand by, I don't mind if the Lakers overpay for somebody if it makes sense, right? Like Mark Williams, for example. The Lakers overpaid for Mark Williams, but at the time, it made sense. Teams knew Lakers need a center and they need one desperately. If the Lakers get a center, especially a guy like Mark Williams, maybe we win the NBA championship. He's also a young foundation center, right? You get your franchise level center. Like that, it made sense, right? You needed it. You're going for the push. You're going for the, the kill with Luka Doncic and now Mark Williams and all stuff. Like you can argue and justify it. And if you win, it's even more justified. It's like, yeah, you overpaid for Mark Williams, but you just won a championship, right? So again, like if you could do something like that and you knew, then yeah, my problem with Andrew Wiggins, if he was 25, I would say do it. Go, like, pony up what you got to pony up for Andrew Wiggins because you'd still have, like, you'd have him, you could have him for multiple seasons. You can kind of, if he doesn't put you over the top this year, then you kind of retweak some things next year and you're in business, right? But the problem is I don't know at his age how much long-term, especially again with the kind of question marks as far as like him being bought in and focused on the game of basketball and stuff, maybe going to a team like the Lakers, maybe that's something that he kind of recalibrates a little bit. But there's also the concerns that, he does it. There's also the concerns that the Lakers lights are too bright and all this other stuff, right? So it is a bit of a risk for the Lakers. Now, supposedly based on reports, the Lakers are expected to kind of re-engage in Andrew Wiggins, especially after the recent 3-team trade between the Clippers, the Heat, and the Utah Jazz, because they got Norman Powell for so cheap that it's like, hey, look at the going rate for guys right now. Like you just got Norman Powell for peanuts, right? Like, yes, you have to give something to get something, right? But there has to be a balance. It has to be fair. It has to make sense, right? Rui Hachimura is still a very good, viable player for Miami that makes sense for Miami, that they could kind of experiment with for a year. And if it doesn't work out, you can let him go, or you could trade him at the trade deadline. Or if it does work, then you can re-sign him, and now you have that piece that could slot in either forward spot for you, right? Like that has value. You want to get off that extra year of Andrew Wiggins. That has value, right? Like if the Lakers can pull something off, then yes, like again, I don't mind overpaying. I just don't think Andrew Wiggins is the right player to overpay for. Right? Like if it was a Herb Jones, I'm okay with overpaying for him because again, the potential, the upside, as well as the age and there's other factors that go into it. But the question that I want to extend to all of you, and of course I want to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments, is, do you believe that that it's best for the Lakers to just kind of pony up what you have to pony up? I wouldn't do connect in a first, right? But if you could do something like Gabe Vincent, right, Rui Hachimura, and Dalton Connect for Andrew Wiggins, keep your first, might be hard to say no. Right? And I know some people are immediately, absolutely not, you can't trade Dalton Connect, this, that, and the other, right? We need to pick a lane. Are we trying to win right now, or are we trying to see if Dalton Connect in 2 years at age 24, now will be 26, can finally mold into that guy, right? I love Dalton Connect, but if you can get an Andrew Wiggins, again, he raises the ceiling right now in the next 2-3 years a lot higher than Dalton Connect right now. Again, maybe Dalton Connect 2 or 3 years from now raises the ceiling higher, who knows? But again, like, you also have to keep in mind, like, is Dalton Connect worth losing Luka potentially, right? If Luka's like, hey, like, I'm trying to win now. Luka's not 23, right? Like, he might look at it as like, dude, like, if you're not willing to do whatever, why am I here? I might as well go to a place like that. I like Dalton Connect, but Dalton Connect is not going to play a major role right now. He's not going to start. And it's not like Andrew Wiggins is some scrub, some bum. Like, him, again, if he was our second option, I'd be a little concerned. If he's our fifth option, Lakers are probably a very good basketball team. And he solves a lot of the Lakers' needs here. I think if you could do something like that, because you're not just getting Andrew Wiggins, right? If you were to do Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, and Dalton Connect for Andrew Wiggins, you not only free up 2 roster spots, right? And then you could waive Shake Milton, so you could get to 3 roster spots, but you'd also clear like $10 million off your books if you waive Shake Milton, right? So you open up 3 roster spots, you land Andrew Wiggins, and you clear enough salary to use your biannual exception plus other assets, right? That to me is no longer an overpay. Right, you still have your first, you still have like Kleba and a couple other things that you can go make moves with. If you want to trade Austin Reeves at some point, which I'm not going to lie, if you get Andrew Wiggins, I prefer Andrew Wiggins at the 2 spot and go get can you go get a Herb Jones, right? Can you turn Austin Reeves into another 3-and-D wing plus some assets and then slot in? Like, I would rather have personally, and again, I like Austin Reeves, but I'm a Laker fan first. What is best for the Lakers and gives us the best shot to win? Right? I would rather have a championship than have Austin Reeves. I love Austin Reeves, but I was a Laker fan before Austin Reeves, a Laker fan after Austin Reeves. Right? So to me, I would rather have Luka, Andrew Wiggins, Herb Jones, just use him as an example, LeBron James, and DeAndre Ayton with a flush bench, especially if you get Bradley Beal. Right? Because if you get Bradley Beal, well then, you could slot Bradley Beal into the 2 spot and go get a 3-and-D win and some assets, right? Even Luka Doncic, Bradley Beal, Andrew Wiggins, LeBron James, and DeAndre Ayton make sense, right? Like, I would rather have the athleticism, versatility, defense, right? In that sense, right? So to me, it's just, can the Lakers kind of find that route and find that path? The Lakers are looking for a consolidation trade. Well, to me, I don't want them to just trade, like, here's Gabe Vincent in a second, thanks, right? Just to clear off $11 million. I'd rather do it through the course of a trade. If you can land a guy like Andrew Wiggins, there is no ands, ifs, buts about it. If that Andrew Wiggins helps, solves, and fixes most of the Lakers' needs now, right? And you'd have one of the best starting 5s in all of basketball. It's just, how does Reeves, Luka as your front court, how does that or your back court? Sorry, correction. How does Reeves and Luka as your backcourt? How do they kind of hold up? And then can LeBron, Luka, and Reeves kind of continue to take strides as like that 3-man group, right? And then how does DeAndre Ayton impact that and affect that, right? Like, so there's a lot of kind of question marks in that regard for the Lakers, right? But to me, it's just, again, you're not just landing an Andrew Wiggins. You're landing Andrew Wiggins plus, right? So, for example, right, let's say you're somebody that's still like, hey, you can't trade Dalton Connect, right? Not for Andrew Wiggins. Okay, well, if I told you were trading Dalton Connect, Rui Hachimura, and a Gabe Vincent for an Andrew Wiggins, Bradley Beal, and say a Nikola Vucevic, right? If he gets bought out by Chicago, or an Al Horford or something like that. You don't think that that's worth it? You don't think that raises the Lakers' ceiling enough to be a title contender? Now they're, 9, 10 guys deep. They got a real bench. They got real versatility in the starting lineup. They have everything, and they still have a first-round pick. They still have Maxi Kleba. They still have Austin Reeves, all as like tradable assets, plus, whatever little pieces. Jackson Hayes waived his no-trade clause, so you could add him for salary filler and stuff like that. Like, that to me no longer becomes an overpay because it's not just about the Andrew Wiggins acquisition. It's about the Andrew Wiggins acquisition plus the other things that now that opens up and frees to where you can land guys. So now the Lakers can solve their backup role. They can solve, some of their scoring on the bench. They can solve some of their point of attack defense, right? Even if it's like, let's say you don't get Bradley Beal, even if it's just DeAnthony Melton. Right, if you can go get DeAnthony Melton, Malcolm Brogdon, and Nikola Vucevic or something like that, or if Marcus Smart ends up getting bought out, now you have Marcus Smart. Like that to me, it's like you're not just getting Andrew Wiggins, you're getting Andrew Wiggins plus. But as far as like Andrew Wiggins, Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, and your first, it's just a little too much because again, Miami's still benefiting for clearing up Andrew Wiggins for that other year. Right? Like you get a young player in a Dalton Connect, you free up cap space going into next season, right? It's a win-win for all sides. But as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.